Ah, the good old trading journal. It's one of the most misused, the most underappreciated, yet one of the most valuable trading tools that you could have at your disposal. So what we're going to talk about in today's whiteboard is how to set up the right type of trading journal to get maximum results out of your trading. But before I do that, as I always say, if you guys like this video, click that you like it. If you want to keep up to date with the educational content on this channel, such as these whiteboards, our weekly happy hours, our weekly stock market reviews, then go ahead and show your support by subscribing to the channel. Now, in order for us to do this correctly, we must all understand or come to the understanding of what exactly is a trading journal's purpose. Now, I know you guys know what a journal is, but most of you probably kept one in like grade school or junior high, like, oh, Ricky, he's so cute. He looked at me, he winked. But this is a different type of journal. So in order for us to be on the same page, as I said, we have to understand what the main purpose of a trading journal, what its main function is. And that main function is to expose. It is to expose both your strength and your weaknesses as a trader, okay? Now that may seem rudimentary, but let me kind of put you in this scenario, especially for you guys that do quite a bit of trading. How many times have you been in a situation where you say to yourself, almost every single day of the week, all I ever do is leave money on the table. If I would have held such and such stock, I would be the richest person in the world. All that ever happens to me is bad luck and I get stopped out and then the stock shoots up and works in my direction. You guys ever been in those situations? Now, it's easy for us that while we're so focused and so concentrating on trading in the heat of the moment, for us to become slightly delusional, and I mean that in a good way, delusional with your trading, which is a absence of reality. You think something may be happening to you, when in fact, that's not what's happening. And the only way that you're going to be able to tell whether this is a real problem or it's just you going through a delusional emotional moment, and trust me, I've been in these before myself, is you're going to have to do this by documenting every single day the trades that you take and a few important things in a sequence of events that happen during those trades. So let's just start out with the easy stuff, which I'm sure most of you know, that if you're going to build a journal, you obviously need to put the date and the name of the security that you were trading or the financial instrument. And whether you bought it, longed it, or you sold it, shorted the stock or security, whatever it was. We know that part, okay? The name, the date, long, short, all that good stuff. But there are a few key factors that we're going to put into this journal that's going to make the difference in our trading. Now, if you've often followed me, and we've talked about some of the stuff that we go through our own educational content in the trading room, is there's three parts to a trade, right? Three main parts. And that is the entry, the exit, and then we're going to put management way over here, Mr. Manager, okay? So in every trade that you make, you will enter that trade. Once you enter that trade, you will manage that trade. And ultimately, how you management will dictate when you exit this trade. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. Now, when we move over to this, there's going to be a few pieces that I think are very important that you must have in your journal that I put in mind that made a big difference. One of those categories here is drawdown. I'm going to try to write real small. Okay. Now, for some of you, that's drawdown. Maybe I'll spell it out when I re-edit this. So for some of you new people that don't understand what that word is, drawdown is the amount of money that your account or that trade is in the negative before, at its max, whether you got rid of it or you sold it for a profit. What was the furthest that thing went down? The other part is you will need the strategy. I'm writing this small to stuff this in here. Maybe we should just get rid of management here for a little bit. Let's scoot Mr. Manager over, okay? And you can put these in whatever order you want. This is not the exact order that they would appear. So for a lot of you, especially the new people out there that's starting to trade, you're going to experiment with maybe 4 or 5 strategies when you first start. And you're going to have to figure out as well, this will come into play later on, how is that strategy working against the market? Which strategy are you excelling at the most? For the people that's been around a little while, this is kind of touch and go because you're at that point, if you've been doing this for a year or so, you're stuck on just 1 or 2 strategies. I don't mean to say the word stuck. That wasn't a good word. I mean, you're just focused on your 1 to 2 things that you do and that's it. So these are very, very important things to keep in. The next one that I like is to always leave, sorry for my penmanship, is an area for comments, okay? Because this is where you're going to document certain things that are very, very important to you that a lot of traders don't. And that's going to be things like emotions, your current feelings outside of that, maybe your physical health, things that go on in your personal life, what you were kind of going through there at the time. So let's review this real quick and show you how this all ties in together, so hopefully it makes a lot of sense to you. So when you enter something, let's say you bought this stock for $100, okay? And then you sold it for $101. I'm going to give you $1 profit because I'm a nice guy, okay? Now, you may think this was a good trade, okay? Maybe it was. Maybe the stock went to $101 and then it dove down to 95 and that was it. Never to return back to that. That was it. That was the only, you got the last dollar of that stock's life. Maybe it ended up the day at 105 and you're angry because you said, I had it at 100. I could have sold it at 105. But why didn't you, right? So when you come over here, you want to look at your drawdown. Let's say that your drawdown was, I don't know, just went down $1, went down $1, okay? Then that means that you didn't have very much of a drawdown in a $100 stock. So the point here is if you continue to let stocks run, let's say you, actually let me reverse that. If you continue to have stocks stopping you out, like you put a stop in there based on whatever strategy that you're looking at, and you say, this is my strategy, and this is where I put my stop, and you keep getting stopped out, and then the thing keeps working for you, you're going to have to look at this drawdown. You're going to have to come up with a reason as to why your strategy is telling you to make your drawdown so tight. Why is it that way? Drawdowns also work for the trader because maybe you don't know how far you are down on a trade. So for example, I can only vouch for my own strategy that when I make a trade, because I trade bigger beta names, bigger types of stocks such as Nvidia, Netflix, stocks that usually go for 100, 200, some were $300 or $400. It's not uncommon for me to be down $2 or sometimes even $3 before this trade will work out. Now, again, why that's important is because I can't trade that stock and use a 50-cent stop. If I do that, I'm going to continually get, because it just moves around, the candle's going to move around 50 cents alone. Sometimes the spread's 10 cents by itself. So 50 cents is too tight. It's putting me too close and I'm not giving the stock enough room to breathe. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to get stopped out, and then potentially most of these will work out for me before the day is over, and then I'm just giving up money. That's one thing. That's my strategy though. The other is the panic factor that comes with drawdowns, okay? And this is what we're really trying to do, is stop the panic, because you want to be right when you make a trade, right? That's what you want to do. And you want to be right away. You want to click the button, you want to buy a stock, never see it red, and it shoot to the stars. Unfortunately, never works that way. You're going to have, like I said before, and I think one of the past whiteboards I talked about this, if you did 10 trades, 4 of them will work the way you want. The other 6 you're going to have to push and pull and give a little bit of leeway to get them to work. So you got to kind of eliminate that panic factor, especially for new people. So if you trade the stock and you say, well, I'm normally down $2, okay? Not a big deal. So if I instantly buy a stock and it dumps $1, I don't crap my pants, because I'm like, well, I've been here before, I've done this before, I've had repetition, and I'm pretty good with this. So drawdowns are very important. And if you do this and you continue to document it, you'll start to see a pattern. The next over here with these comments is to kind of understand what you're going through throughout the day. What kind of market was it? Was it a choppy market? Actually take notes on what's the environment outside of the strategy. Let's say this was just a bull flag breakout, to put something there, okay? Bull flaggy, okay? And then you start working on each one of these. It's like, well, the market was choppy, so maybe the strategy isn't so good when it's choppy. The market was bearish, or it's kind of in a down cycle, not really crashing, but kind of selling off. Bull flags might not be working. Maybe it's a strategy problem, okay? Maybe you're selling too early, which is another column I'll give you, is in favor. This is one I really used to keep on my journals a lot, and that was, did this, after I sell it, continue to work on my favor? You could just put yes or no, yes or no. So if it actually went to 105, it would say yes, it did. It went higher after I sold it. It went further in my favor. Or, you know, it crashed back to 90. No, it did not. And then after you do a series of these, you can start to compare your notes. And from this, you can start to isolate your problem. So let's say I do this, and I do a dozen of these, and 8 of these. It's just like, yes, 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 yes. Then I've got a problem. But what is my problem? It's not my entries. It's my exits, okay? I've got a problem with my exits because I'm giving up too soon. Now, why is that happening? That's going to have to come back to the strategy. Where was the target? When I bought this stock, what was the target based on this strategy? And then why did I give it up? You know, why did I settle for this? What was the reasoning? Okay. Then check your comments. Was I pissed? Did I come away from a big loss? Follow what I'm saying? So then you figure out, look, I'm leaving money on the table. It's a pattern. There's a pattern. It's not 1. It's not 2. It's 8 out of 10. It's a problem. Okay. And then you work on that. Again, it's all about entry, exit, and then you're managing what happens in between. And what I want you to do, for the sake of time, is just pick one thing every week. Just one. That's it. Just pick one. Pick one thing that you're going to work on that week and try to make it better before you try to fix every single problem that you have with your trading. So let's say this is the problem. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to hold these longer. How am I going to do that? I'm going to try to be more patient, or I'm going to use partial shares, and try to ride up for a little bit longer. I'm trying to stick to my guns because my journal tells me I'm right most of the time. I just don't believe I'm right. That's what the journal is for. And then you go through with everything else. Maybe your drawdowns are stopping you out, and you're like, oh, if I could just hold a little longer and trust my process, this is what's going to happen. It's going to come out in my favor, right? So I hope this kind of makes sense. Remember, what you think is happening isn't always what's happening. And it's easy to get confused, especially when you're trying to trade so many things, trade different styles, trying to learn how to the market and deal with all its intricacies, back and forth, news events, and all that kind of stuff that comes with it. It takes some time. And the only way that you're going to know whether or not what you need to work on as a trader is it has to be documented. And you don't have to just do it all. You don't have to climb the mountain in one single day. Just do one thing at a time, fix that one thing, conquer that problem, move on to the next, and in a short period of time, you will have honed yourself into a great trader. So I hope this helps you. As always, if you guys need help with your personal trading, feel free to visit thelincolnlist.com, click on the Trade Room tab, and trade live with us. Until the next Whiteboard, thanks for watching. Take care.